Well, it's that time. It is Monday again, so let's go ahead and do this. Another PWCC/Fanatics. I'll probably just always call it that, but a weekly review here. As you can see, we're going for the fastest weekly attempt this week, as we'll come to see. So let's go ahead and give it a go. If you like these videos, of course, make sure to leave a like. But with that said, let's swing on over to the site. You might wonder why we're going for a record, and that's because this week we started $74, so about half what the normal average has been in terms of starting point, and the first page starts at like $300. So there's a lot of low slash, well, really like mid-end soccer, and then we'll get into some high-end at the very end. But let's go ahead and scroll on through. If there's stuff that catches my eye, I'll talk about them real quick. Here we have an 85 Maradona Calciatore and a 6 that goes for 75. That's notable because we'll see an 8 here in a second that didn't do much higher. A cool early Zoff here in a PSA 8 for $74 there from 64. In this row, you got a Kylian Mbappe, a Jude out of 99 Sapphire, this 2009 Panini FC Barcelona Messi. We've seen a lot of those go from this set. Generally speaking, we'll see more again this week. In this row, I thought that the 24 Valor Cemetière sold for a decent amount, considering the grade. A CGC 4 or 5 is probably like a 3, really, in terms of PSA grading, and that's a pretty common sticker, so that seemed like a decent price. Another Panini FC Barcelona. We have a Montigum Passarella here in a 7 that went for $79. Kind of cool, because I barely ever see any Passarella in the top hundreds. Another Cristiano Ronaldo. We've seen a few of these go in the last couple months here. This 2008 UEFA Panini Champions League. Kubala, rookie PSA 8. It says rookie, not really rookie, but you get the idea. This happens a lot. $81 there. It used to be, I guess, probably considered a rookie back in the day, but as time went on, no longer considered. And from my understanding, PWCC/Fanatics never update the rookies, or basically never do it. I don't like it as much as the next guy. I think it's certainly negligent, but soccer's a small niche, so I guess I get it. I thought this was a low price, but it's actually not bad. $81, up from some of the other sales we've seen last year. Granted, these auctions do have like $20 or $30 shipping from Germany, so maybe that's something to take into account, but definitely down from the booming days where PSA 8 miscut went for $103, and now a PSA 8 with no designation goes for $81. Keeping it moving, we have a Kyle Walker gold penmanship for $81, a Lamine Yamal crystal PSA 9 for $81, and a, again, misclassed rookie from 2009. Luckily, it doesn't seem like anyone's really fallen for that. $84 for a second-year Lewandowski there. Pop 1 of 4, none higher. 68 Zoff with the Velita back goes for $84, along with an Mbappe out of 250. You got a Sami Khedira here out of 50 from 2017 Chrome Gold. PSA 10 goes for 90. There will be a few more autos in this auction block. Speaking of, I guess this isn't an auto, but same set. SGC 10 goes for 88 for O-Block. This is the Maradona I was referencing earlier, only like $15 more than the 6, so I definitely like that in comparison. I would take that all day. I thought this was pretty cheap too. PSA 4 of the Panini Football Junior stickers R9. Again, I don't think that's a rookie. I'm pretty sure it's second year. My word, how many times do we have to say that, huh? But in terms of pass comps, it's up a small bit from the last sale, I guess. But overall, these are down quite a bit. Keep in mind, we're looking at all the grades here in terms of a 4. They've been, near this price. I guess an 8's been as low as $186, so that would even seem to be more of a deal. But yeah, back in, the pre-boom, this was kind of interesting. There was a 4 that had sold for $56. Now, maybe back in the day, that was possibly more likely to be thought of as a rookie, again, which might be why it's listed like that, but nowadays it's pretty clearly not. So they've come down quite a ways. I always love this sticker. I think it looks so good, and early R9 stuff just in general is fun. So cool one there for $91. 31 watchers too, which is pretty decent. Highest in the row. Beyond that, David Martinez here goes for $91 out of 10 from Topps Chrome Sapphire. You also, well, that's MLS, by the way. You also have Kylian Mbappe, a Mind Game PSA 9. I don't really know what this is. I'm just going to guess it's a case hit. That's just what I always assume when there's an unnumbered sort of insert in here. And then we have a Kylian Mbappe out of 99 winner camo going for 91. That's the end of page 1, and that's probably more time than I want to spend on it, so we'll go a little quicker. Kip Keller, 1 of 1 Superfractor here for 93. You got a Needham's from 1901. I thought this was pretty decent. In terms of pricing, under 100 for PSA 10 sticker, which is a pretty nice looking Messi. If you're putting the registry together or just trying to get as many PSA 10s as you can, pretty cool. This PSA 6 sold for a decent amount, considering some recent eBay sales of these stickers. I think a 9 on eBay recently went for under 100, so a 6 doing 100's pretty high. Beyond that, out of 10 Vinny from Topps Now, you got this 86 Buster Diego Maradona. I've never heard of that, but a PSA 8, pop 1 of 8, must be fairly submitted, goes for 100, nearly on the dot. Beyond that, you have a Puck Van Heel, 1931. This is, we've seen 1920 Puck Van Heels go recently, the Anglo-American ones. Those did a really good number, near about 1,000 or two, depending on what it was. So this is obviously quite the discount, but $101 basically there for the 1931 Miss Blanche. This Batistuta, I think I looked that one up. I did. It was actually the highest sale of any that I could find for PSA 10 score. So interesting to note that. Pop 1 of 9 goes for 103. Hyungmin Sun Match Ball there. We got a Lamine Yamal PSA 9 from Mega Cracks. I thought this was fairly cheap, but then I looked at comps and it's actually kind of fair. I don't know if I closed it, but yeah, it was kind of hard to sort through. There's other cards in the set, but this was around what they go for, and I thought that, I mean, to me, that was a decent price for a Messi 2018 Optic. I know first year Optic doesn't have much luster around it, but I think it's a really nice looking set. I'm a little biased because a lot of my American guys are in there, and I like it for that reason, but I think the cards are cool too, and Messi numbered down to 99 from a at least somewhat relevant set. Going for 105 didn't seem terrible to me. Hurricane Match Ball Patch Auto goes for 105. You have a Pirlo Rookie. This says rookie. I think this is also second year. I mean, my word. Anyways, this is pretty low compared to where the sales have been. But again, at one point in time, it was sort of known widely as a rookie, and now it's not. The year before is a panel, though, so I do think this is the first, like, good-looking sticker, depending on how much you care about that. Then a couple MLS guys. Don't want to talk too much about that, but cool to see in the auction block. Not a whole lot I can add, really. It's just kind of team collectors doing their thing, and hard to comp, all that stuff. We have a Ronaldo here, classic R9 from 2004, sort of the green Mega Cracks here, and a PSA 9 going for 115. These are fairly hard to grade, so a 9 should get somewhat of a premium. It seemingly did. Not crazy, though, at least compared to what you can find those raw. Isak out of 5 patch. I did look. This is not affiliated with anything, so that's a little, not so great, but nonetheless, PSA 9 and a out of 5 Emerald goes for 117. And Zonzi out of 50 Chrome. This goes for 117 in a PSA 10. It seems like a pretty good price. It's only a pop 1 of 4, and of course there are a fair few 2017 collectors, so seemingly some set chasing going on there, which is always cool to see. Same thing up above it, Scott Sinclair here, goes for 120. This tops now, I don't know if this is a Palmer rookie. That was sort of my first impression, but seems like a decent price for what is, 2 Man City players, one that's gone, and not a rookie for anyone. Out of 99 tops now, not bad. Diego Maradona 85 Calciatore goes for 132 there. Pop 1 of 9, just one higher. And then finally in this row, I thought that this was another card that sort of showed, at least in my opinion, that the 2018 Optic was pretty cheap. I mean, a 2023 Topps historic hat-trick gold foil board Messi for $30 more than this. Now, granted, this is a 9, this is a 10, so, I know there's grading premium and all that good stuff. But, and obviously this is just my opinion, but I do really devalue, like, when they aren't on the team anymore and you're putting throwback pictures on there. To me, that just, it isn't the same. 2023 Topps in a Barca kit, I don't really count that, but I don't know if most people do. Nonetheless, to me, I thought the Optic was a better deal of the bunch, but to each their own. Then we have a Luka Modric auto and a Kylian Mbappe Future Stars BGS 10 to end out page 2 and get us halfway through the auction block here. On to page 3 again, zooming on by. David Beckham PSA 9 from 2000 Topps Premier Gold Superstars. You have a Lamine Yamal out of 120 from Obsidian and a PSA 9 for 156. And then a 2009 Mega Cracks Messi for 156. Always love the look of this particular year. A PSA 10 of the sticker that we've seen basically in every weekly. It's been going down a decent bit. Used to be around 400, 300 at times, now closer to 150. This Thierry Henry PSA 7, I thought this was light, and I mean, I guess it is light in comparison, but it's not the lowest. We've seen 156 last year and 144, so 174 is actually up a little bit below the best offer, but that's to be expected. The further you go back, it was pretty popping back in 2023. We have 444 here. Yeah, this card was one of the latest, I would say, of the pre-modern stickers to really get some run. It was one that people sort of had to dig down beneath to get in on, so I think that that's maybe why it's a little lagging in terms of its price drop. But 174 doesn't seem crazy there for what is, the second tier Henry. It's not the rare one either. It's a Spanish, but a 7's a decent grade. Maradona Calciatore from 84 and a PSA 5 goes for 170. Always love the look of that sticker, and that's a decent price. I mean, there are, grades higher out there, but 5's not terrible either. Rumenegi here from Montegum World Cup goes for 180, a Calcio Flash Maradona for 186 from 1982, and a BGS 8. This had sold prior for the same price a couple times, and then one time for like $800, the same exact card / sticker. So make of that what you will. The Zico's actually down a little bit. We've only seen one other one sell, and that was like last week, and that was a PSA 3 for $250. So this was the better deal of the bunch. Typically, when that happens, when one card goes, which is the first time people have ever seen it, and then another one goes, almost no matter the grade, it usually doesn't get much of a premium, if any, over the one that sold before. There's rare occasions, but that's kind of par for the course, really. A Baggio patch here. I tried reading the back. I couldn't read it, so I don't know if this is associated with anything. I would assume it is, since it's 1999. I'd like to think they had some ethics back in the day. If anyone knows more about it, do let me know in a comment. Would love to see it. 83 Este Diego Maradona PSA 6. This goes for $192. Pretty good grade for the Estes. Getting a 6 is not easy on those. At least, within that era. 2022 Premier League Kane Pitchside Gold Auto goes for $200. We have a PSA 9 Iniesta. Again, I said one of these on eBay sold below $100, so I thought this was, again, a really good sale for a 9. Granted, there also was a 10 on eBay that did like $300, so maybe the 10 was the deal of the bunch. Maybe the 9 is just a bit of an overpay. Probably a mix of both. Still a cool sticker. I mean, I like it. The massive high grades have come out and seemingly sell once every other month. Does put a little bit of a damper on it for me, but nonetheless, I still think it's a cool sticker. It's made the headshot version a lot more, elusive and seemingly rare, but then you do wonder if more of those come out someday, so I don't know. Nonetheless, Cup Captain CR7 here goes for $204 and a BGS 10 Pristine. We have a 1/1 foil fractor Jeremy Doku from the same set as the Leao that we've been seeing a ton of. That was autoed. This is not. This goes for $204. Panini Calciatore Pele PSA 6 goes for $204 here. 42 watchers on that, which is not too shabby. This Zizinho goes for $210, which I did look up. There it is. So I looked by all-time highest price for this particular set. It's sort of like dollar bills of players and teams. This is a Garrincha rookie. Where he is in this photo, I do not know, to be honest with you. And I think that's Donald Duck over there on the side. It's a good time. I have no clue what's going on there. I would love to know more. But the highest selling ones ever were the Garrincha team picture. There's also an actual Garrincha in here, but I don't think we have a public comp on any of that. There is, of course, a Zizinho as well, and a PSA 2 prior did do $264. So this is down a little bit, SGC 3, but still a pretty cool one to see, as they don't go up all that often. This 2017 Chrome Cristiano Ronaldo refractor I looked at personally myself, and I closed it. But it's up 20-30% over the last year, which, it's basically the price that the Messi is. I don't know if that means that the Messi should be higher. I don't know if that means the Ronaldo's too high. I don't know if that means they're, both goats. I don't know. But the Messi over the last year is about even, which is kind of surprising considering this is up, and you probably wouldn't think that, but maybe it's just this particular card. Very well could be. Pavel Nedved from 95. Again, don't know if this is a rookie, but given what we've seen so far, I wouldn't put a lot of faith in it. Best to do your research, figure out yourself. If anyone does know, again, would love to hear in a comment. We'll just skip over the Vicky Lopez, as I know nothing. We'll talk more about the 2018 Topps Chrome Premier League Mohamed Salah variation. Pretty cool card there. PSA 10 goes for $252. Very nice imagery, and that is first year Premier League Topps Chrome, so, if that matters, I don't know, but $252 for that pop 1 of 4. Then we have a Rafinha auto, don't see a lot of that, $264 on that PSA 10, that is from 2023 Deco. You have a Maradona Super Calcio sticker PSA 8 that goes for $264, and then you have this 85 Maldini, which is quite an interesting one. I always talk about the Discord, but I never open it and show it. But here, this is pretty useful for this particular card that we'll talk about. This was posted in the Vintage Discord, link down below, of course, in a buy-sell trade channel by Seb, who's a pretty prominent poster. He said an Italian buddy of his was reaching out to sell his album. If anyone is interested, let me know. And essentially, there was some chat about it in another section of the Discord, and from what I can tell, this is sort of like a magazine type of thing, like a magazine booklet that just has all the players, the top 100 players, I would guess, printed on it throughout that season. So this isn't something that was like pack inserted or anything like that. It wasn't meant to be cut out either. From my understanding, it's just a magazine, and a couple of those did sell this week, the first being the Maldini, the second being the Maradona that we'll talk about. So always do your research on that type of stuff. Generally with hand-cut stuff, it's best to probably know where it comes from. This isn't a problem now, but, PSA's graded more and more and more stuff stuff over time. And so eventually, I don't know if we have like cutouts of people from newspapers and PSA slabs, or if there is some sort of strict like definition of what they're willing to grade. But at least by most people's estimation, I wouldn't say that that's necessarily, a typical sort of rookie. And that is why the sort of, added factors that make up a rookie are important, like pack insertion. That's such a big deal in American sports, but recently isn't such a big deal. The implications of not caring about that sometimes can be pretty massive in terms of what you're opening yourself up to in terms of cards and stickers and magazines and newspapers. I don't know, but nonetheless, page 1, here we go. So starting at 264, it's even lower than I thought for page 1. We got a Christian Pulisic out of 50, PSA 10 from Future Stars 2017 Chrome. I do own one of these 5 here, so I have some vested interest, I guess. I think it's a decent card. Down from the last sale, I think the last sale was like $350, something like that, but that was auctioned maybe a couple months ago on the platform, so that's going to happen. Roberto Carlos here next to it goes for $276 in a PSA 6, which seems like a decent price compared to a Rivaldo we saw last week go. There's the Maradona that we just mentioned from the Discord a second ago. This in a pop 1 of 2, none higher, goes for $288. When you want to pick which one you want, they're both PSA 6s. I would probably take the 82 Panini World Cup Spain. That seems like an easy choice to me, knowing what I know now. That's also a reason not to care too much about the pop 1 of 2s, especially when it's on stuff that just started getting graded. Seemingly, I don't know if this was graded a long time ago and just none of them ever come out, but when it's 100 million plus, and that's basically where we are in terms of the counting at this moment in time, whenever it's really new and it's really low pop, that's probably something to be a little weary of. Nonetheless, we have I think this is Laughing Cow from 82, PSA 9 goes for $312. Apparently this is a cutout too of some sort or another. It does have hand cut on it, so that designation is there for you, but this is a Geo and Smith from 1899, the boys' own paper, so maybe it is just a newspaper or something. I was sort of referencing that. I could be totally wrong. I am making no assertions there, just sort of seeing what I can glean from the slab itself. 2017 Select Luka Modric, I do know what this is. This in a PSA 9 goes for $360. Looked at comps, and it's about where it's been, man. There's not a whole lot to see here. Anywhere between $250 and $400 for the most part, so $360 seems like a decent sale. Speaking of decent sale, I think this was a decent sale. Romelu Lukaku out of 50, PSA 10 goes for nearly $400. Pop 1 of 8, which compared to the other ones we've seen is pretty high. Probably speaks to the Manchester United collecting base out there, so good on you there. Of course, the Chrome collectors as well. 73 Pele Confectionery here. This is a pop 1 of 4. I swear I've seen one of these 4 sell 5 or 10 times. So, it's back up again. This goes for $400. It's every few months, every year. It just shows up. So there it is. Luis Suarez, I thought this was probably the better deal of the bunch. Granted, I don't think that necessarily this person is looking for deals, but the Luis Suarez out of 50 here, going for the same price as the Lukaku, would be a pretty easy choice for me. You got a Heinerle De Schwartz Pele PSA 2 for $444, always a nice looking one there, along with this foil Ronaldinho from 2003, Mega Fichas PSA 7. Goes for $780. Have never seen this one in these auction blocks, and it's a pop 1 of 1, just one higher, so I don't think we're really getting any comps on that. Really cool card, and I had someone comment recently that Mega Fichas is the sort of prelude to Mega Cracks, which I was sort of aware of because I had some David Villas from this set, so I sort of knew that existed. I did not know that foils were a thing in there, so that's interesting to see. And a PSA 7 on this type of a card is not going to be easy, given that people probably weren't treating that the best back in the day. So $780 on there, big jump from the De Schwartz to that one with the foil. $870 for a Cristiano Ronaldo sticker from 2021 in a Juve kit. Seems like a pretty decent price for a 9.9 as well. I guess it is out of 19, so you got that going. Then we have a Sketch 2023 Lionel Messi Darren Pepe auto. It says auto. Is there an auto? Okay, the artist auto. That's okay. That's kind of what I thought. Nonetheless, goes for $990 at 1 of 1. Him holding the trophy. Kind of cool. If you're into Messi stuff and you want a cheap 1 of 1, it doesn't seem like a terrible one. Granted, I'm not into cheap Messi 1 of 1, so I don't necessarily know, but it's unique, and sometimes that's all that matters. Then we have a 2022 foil fractor, Robert Lewandowski. Goes for $1,020. And that's, it's kind of interesting. Which one would you want? I don't really know. I'd probably take the Messi, I guess, but they might just make sketch cards of this forever, so I don't know. I guess a sticker auto really doesn't do it for me, but nonetheless, 1,020 seems like a fair price probably for a Lewandowski. Then we have a quote-unquote rookie Pele. This is a matchbook again. PSA sort of grading things that aren't necessarily typically collected, but it does have Pele on it. It is from 1958, at least so it says. I can't personally speak to that, but pop 1 to 3 in a PSA 3 goes for 1,600. You have a select Kaboom Messi next to a 6.571 bis. Take your pick of the two. The Kaboom is doing fairly well, at least from what I could find. Again, much like the Modric, it's been higher at certain times. This has 9s and 10s in here. I guess we could go... No, well, this was a 9.5, so we really can't. That's why it's a little tricky to go ahead and look at this comp. So PSA 9 here for 2,100. You have a 9.5 here for 3,000 nearly from BGS. So I think an SGC 9.5 at 2,600 is probably fair. Again, if you go back in time, I mean, a 9 in 2022 was 2,200, so a little higher, but basically the same price. A 9 back in 2021 during absolute peak mania was 1,300, so it's up from the boom, and it's maybe down a little bit over the last couple of years, but overall doing pretty well, I would say. 71 bis, we know where that's been, up, down, and then a little more up as of late, or at least up relative to the down. This is at 2760 for 6.5. Don't have a comp on it just because we look at those all the time. There'll be another one in the row above it, but overall, I thought this was a pretty decent looking 6.5. It is pretty recently graded by BGS. I don't know if they're getting stricter. I don't know if anyone is even paying attention. But I mean, the corners are definitely white. Don't get me wrong. The edges aren't the greatest, but seemed like a decent 6.5 and got a decent price as well there. Above that, a Renaissance out of 5 Lamine Yamal. I did look this up. I think I kept it. I did. So this sold for 2,800. Notably, the 1 of 1 in a PSA 10, granted, but it's the 1 of 1, sold for 27,000. So quite the discount there, a tenth of the price to go ahead and get yourself an out of 5 instead of the 1 of 1, and it's a color match. I mean, personally, I think it's a little bit of a deal, but at the same time, when you're chasing 1 of 1s, it's a whole different ball game. So it's interesting to sort of see the middle ground here. The 1 of 1 sells for 27.5 thousand. The base goes for, like 5 to 600, and the out of 5 goes for 2,800. Doesn't seem like a massive premium for the out of 5. Of course, Lamine Yamal has a lot of other cards you could chase, so that plays a factor, but there is also one higher. It is a PSA 9 to be fair, so you would assume a 10. Then we have the 58 record Pele, again, another cutout here. From my understanding, the Pele was a little bit more meant to be cut out than other things, but that's always so tricky to truly understand personally. I just take other people's word as gospel sometimes, and, I relay it accordingly. We have a PSA Pop 1 of 12 here. These have been between 4 and 8K and a lot closer to 4 as of late, so they're definitely down a little bit from some of the all-time high sales, and, the hand-cut nature could be a big reason why. I think a lot of people probably during the boom were just interested in this more because you could get really high-grade Pele rookies, and people love high-grade stuff generally, so I think that, could be losing a little luster. Then we have BGS 8571 bits. It goes for 5,800. About a little bit over double the 6.5 there. And then the top row, we have a Kylian Mbappe Kaboom, goes for 6,000 in PSA 10, and I do have comps, of course, pulled up on that, as I have no clue really where that's been. We have 6,100 last time, 6,200 the time before, 6,000 the time before that, 5,500, so it's within the range. Last year it was a little higher at certain times, nearly 7,000-ish, but also 5,000. It's just popping around. I don't really know what to make of it. Looking at the comps, 6,000 on this sale in terms of priors, anywhere from 5,500 to like 7,200. So, I mean, it's on the lower side. But some of these sales, you never know with a sale here or there that's really high. I mean, this one apparently sold for 9,200, and then, we haven't seen another sales high since. So, nonetheless, it's been around the same spot. Now, back in the day, it was closer to 10 to 11 at times, so it definitely is down from the booming days, but most Kylian Mbappe's are, so I don't think that's exclusive to this card by any means. I think it's probably performing pretty good. But back in September 8th of 2019, this was a $220 card. So, just before the booming days of 2020, if you would have bought this, you'd be up 30x. So, while it might be down half from the peak, it is up 30x from 2019, and so, it's finding its spot somewhere in the middle, seemingly. We'll see where that ends up. Inception, Ronaldo and Messi. I'd usually be more interested to talk about this, but we've already seen it run before, and I presume it got unpaid. It is a dual sticker auto with player-worn patches, so not match-worn, but they touch the player, I guess. And, 10,000 for that. They're going to make these types of cards until the end of time. Now, how much will it cost to get Messi and Ronaldo to sign? I don't know. I mean, obviously, that's always going to vary, but 10,000 for that seems like a pretty good price. And then finally, again, just a smidge below 10K, we have the Kylian Mbappe out of 50, 2017 Chrome Gold in a 9.5 grade. I do have the comp pulled up for that, and there's barely any 9.5s, so we kind of just got to look at 10s and assume where the 9.5 would have been. It's a little tricky. There's a BGS 10 that just sold for 15.9 that had sold a year prior for 22.8, so I mean, it's definitely down. PSA 10s were selling in 2023 for 20, all the way up to like 30 to 40K in 2021. Yeah, so there's a lot going on. I mean, kind of crazy, but even pre-boom, PSA 10 back in May 4th of 2020 apparently went for 16.5K, and I mean, there's really not a whole lot of sales lower, so seemingly that is true. Back in May 4th, 2020, this was a 16K card, apparently. I mean, that's just crazy to me. That is huge. I mean, just absolutely huge. Now, granted, I mean, even in January 2020, at that point, a BGS 9 was 1,100. So those were pretty big even before I sort of got in here, which is very interesting. I thought this card was solely a post-2020 thing, but I guess not. Pretty light week, but I think we got through it okay. A lot of fun stuff, no matter the case in between. I don't only love talking about $1,000 and up cards. It's part of why I love soccer. The 100 to 1,000 range can also be a ton of fun. We'll look at next week and see what it has in store in terms of the top price sellers. Yeah, what is, this is sort of my highest price. What is the 2014 World Cup doing up here? Am I missing something? Oh, okay. For some reason it wasn't sorted properly. I had to click it again. I was going to say, I'm like, man, next week is dead. Like, oh my God, we got a Prism in the top 10? Or in the top 3? Okay. Kobe Bryant, fan of the game here, out of 25, already at 6,200. Little different than a base Prism. Beyond that, we have a Cristiano Ronaldo auto, a Pele Quiggle, and a PSA 5 super high grade on that. A couple GOAT autos here, along with the Zebra GOAT as well, just a row full of GOATs. Obviously, sarcasm. Ronaldo's not the GOAT. Erling Haaland out of 150, got a pretty high grade there, Joseph Meyer. But yeah, I mean, a Didi from the 55 set we saw earlier, some fun stuff, but again, not a huge week. I guess you got a Gold War winners, a purple Ronaldo. There's definitely some fun things in there, so I'm looking forward to next week. Hopefully you are too. As always, hopefully you enjoyed the video this weekly. If you did, make sure to leave a like, helps me help the channel. Anything you bought, sold, thought something of, would love to hear it down below in a comment. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as they go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully a wonderful day, and peace.